Morning, folks. This one is going to be a quick one. Going to blast some maps and chat about my first experience whilst, I guess, learning to drive. For those that don't know, learning to drive, long story short, finally decided it was time that I wanted to learn. So people have told me, well, basically since you're legal to drive, oh, you should learn to drive. I've never really been interested in learning to drive. I've had no desire to. And as a result, I haven't actually gone for it. Well, I fancied going for it, so set up a driving instructor, paid him, and off we went today. It's been waiting about a week for it, so sort of a build up to it now. For somebody that can drive, you'll just be like, oh, maybe you understand where I'm coming from. But I'm nervous about the build up. It's that wait. You're doing something where you're nervy about and you just sort of want to get it over with, but you also don't want it to arrive. So I booked early in the morning. It was like 9:10. Just decided to go pay 2-hour lesson. I didn't even know what car we were learning in. I didn't really know anything about the bloke. Got recommended he recommended by a friend. That's that really. So I just thought I'd chat about right now my experience, how it went, what I'm feeling. Maybe somebody that has learnt to drive recently or is a driver. We're talking stick, I guess you'd call it if you're in America, just a manual gearbox. And that's what I'm currently learning. So we set off and I don't know anything. I've watched the odd video on YouTube. For those that don't know, there's a load of driving lesson videos on YouTube. Not so much lessons. You can't learn to drive whilst watching. But you can spectate someone's lesson. And it gives you a bit of an idea of how the lesson's probably going to go. At least the first one. How they talk to you. I didn't know this guy. I didn't know if he was going to be nice or not. So yeah, I just watched some videos just to get the gist of sort of an idea of what to expect. So to start off with, he takes me to like out of my town because it's not very hilly where I am. There's just no hills. So he takes me to a place where there's a hill and I instantly hill start, right? So I don't know if that's normal or not. But that's what it was. So I've never sat in a driver's seat of a car. I've never even switched the ignition on or anything like that. I spoke to him about this. I was like, I've never done anything in a car. Don't really know what the hell is going on. I'm probably going to be awful. I'll let you lead. You're the instructor. I don't know what's going on. You just point me in the right direction. Tell me what to do. And I'll try and do it. And if it's going terribly, yeah, then obviously we're moving too fast. So he gets me on this hill. It's chucking it down with rain. It's hail storming. Or hail stoning. I don't know if that makes a difference, but it wasn't exactly calming me down. I wasn't on a quiet road at the side of... It was a quiet road, don't get me wrong. He didn't take me to some juncture, tell me, right, when this lorry pulls out, do a start. No, I was on a quiet road, but it still was a hill. There were cars turning into the hill, though. So it's like a hill, and then there's a turning into it. And he basically explains, all the parts of the car, how they work. I've watched all these on YouTube, and you have a general idea of, how things work. So we did that, spoke me through the car, and I'm shitting it, mate. Honestly, I'm not good with new things. Once I've got to grips with either the person or the new thing, I'm fine. But it takes me a long while to become comfortable with something. So, I'm a fairly nervy person at the first starting of doing something. So I really just wasn't looking forward to it. He's like, all right, we've ran through the clutch, the brake, how to turn on demister, how to set your mirrors up. All right, in you go. So we swap sides. Yeah. And he just tells me what to do. So this is sort of a process for me to relay back what's just happened because it's kind of a blur, which might sound daft. You'll be like, mate, it's a car. But honestly, it felt like a blur. So I get in. He basically tells me, I know the biting point. I know what the biting point is. I know how to start a car. I've just never done it. So turn the engine on and I'm on a hill, right? So I'm already shitting it that I'm going to roll down the hill. He's obviously got dual controls, but Trust me, right? When someone says to you, oh, I've got dual controls, you'll be fine. Don't worry. You still worry because you are in control of a car that's rolling back. So it's got a stop-start feature in his car like most modern cars. I think it was a new Renault Clio I'm learning in. I don't even know if it was a diesel or not. I didn't ask. I didn't ask any questions. I was just shitting it. And get my seat all sorted out so I can see the speedometer. It hasn't got a needle. It's just a heads up. Not a heads up display, but like a digital graphic of my speed. He tells me to set the revs at like 1,500 to 2,500. We're going to need a few more revs because we're on a hill. Set your clutch. So basically what I was doing was I was going, checking all my things, handbrake on. So handbrake was on. I would then clutch down, start the car. I would set, I think I would set my gas. I would set then my clutch. Now, honestly, I was fucking terrible. I can't stand here. I can't sit here and say I was good. I was fucking awful, right? The car was jerking everywhere. It was fucking horrendous, right? So we go, we're on this hill. I don't want to do this arena. And my very first attempt, I did move off, right? I did move off, which I was pleased with. Just to actually get the car moving for me was like, okay, I'm not immensely dense. I did get it moving. It did judder. There was about 25 back and forwards before we actually did pull off. But what surprised me was just the amount of stuff you've got to do in such a short space of time. It sounds easy, but this is, so for those that haven't driven, I know this is obviously super obvious for people, but for me, I didn't really know what I was doing. So you're setting the biting point, so that's like your 2 feet. So your left foot is like sort of like this, like, so you press it all the way down, then you're coming all the way up. Your right foot is touching slightly on the accelerator, and then once you feel the car, it sort of pulls forwards. That's what it felt like. He was like, that's the biting point. Now I just couldn't keep my feet still. I'm not gonna lie, I was really nervous. My leg was borderline almost shaking. I thought, which might sound pathetic, but you know, whatever. I've never done it before. I was shitting it, throwing it at the deep end. I didn't even know the bloke, and that's the best way I learn, is just in the deep end. I hate it. I absolutely hate it, but it is the best way I learn. So that's what we were doing in the deep end. We'll kill this boss. Actually, I need to do it. I could swap, but, and I'm setting the biting point, and as I'm going, yeah, I'm having a horrendous time. Just balancing the two pedals just was immensely more difficult than I ever imagined. I thought, all right, this is some misconceptions from me on my part. I literally thought that when it would just be so simple to keep your foot down at a set distance. But what I was having trouble was, we were constantly swapping in and out of the driver's seat, because it's my first ever lesson. He was showing me, then we'd swap sides. It was bloody hurricane wind because I live near the sea. And we're doing that. It's all going fine. But then I have to set my seat, and I'm like 6'1", and he's like 5'7". So every time we get in the car, I'm setting the seat, and it's just adding to the, okay, set your seat, check your mirrors. I went in by accident there. And it's probably no big problem. So we'll get that done. I know I'm waffling, but I'm just trying to think about what I actually did. Did that. And I attempted to pull off, right? So pull off horrendously, but we pull off. And we go forward a small amount. And then he's like, indicate left. Check your mirrors. It sounds easy, but honestly, I was like, Jesus, I've got to indicate, I've got to pull in, I've got to steer, I've not got to hit anyone, I've got to check 3 mirrors, I've got to do the gears, the clutch, everything, man. I'm sure it becomes second nature eventually, but at the moment, it was like horrible. So yeah, that was that. We then, I guess that was kind of like lesson 1. We did like a double lesson, so it wasn't too much of an ordeal, so to speak, or so he didn't waste all my time doing, you know, just because it took like 10 minutes to drive to the location. Anyway, lesson 2 kind of begins. It doesn't say that, but lesson 2 begins, and I'm doing hill starts, and what I'm effectively doing is pulling off with the clutch, not using any gas, and I'm doing that like 4 or 5 times in a row. So the same thing, set your bite point, set your clutch, pull off, indicate in, turn in, then he'd get out, he'd reverse us all the way back down the hill. I'd go up the same long hill again like 4 or 5 times. It really was shit. I was really fucking shit at it, honestly. I wasn't good. I didn't expect to be good. I've never done it before, right? So I didn't expect to be good. After we've done that, we then do the opposite. We are going down the hill. We're doing a downhill start. And yeah, that was like a bit different because you've got to cover your brake before you move. And it's like, I'm sure, hopefully, in 10, 15 lessons time, this is all natural. I'm just covering my brake. But currently what I'm having an issue with, it sounds dumb, just straight finding the pedals. So you've got your feet position. I felt like I was too far away from the seat. He kept telling me to move back because I'm tall. But I think I should have moved forward because it felt like I was slightly stretching for the clutch. And every time I was pressing my clutch and I was trying to hold it still, I was finding it easier to hold still with my foot up in the air. And I don't mean in the air, I mean slightly off the ground. So what I was trying to do towards the end was, you know, keep my ankle on the ground and do that. So we're doing some hill starts again, setting the bite point, and just what I was having a huge issue was I'd lift my clutch up, I'd find the biting point, and then I'd just slam on the accelerator, like subconsciously or whatever you call it, indirectly. When I'd found the biting point, instead of holding it there, I just couldn't hold it there, and I was hitting the accelerator, and as a result, you know, it wasn't good for the car, right? That's not how you pull off. So that first hour just was shit. It was just shit. I didn't enjoy it. And he said to me, there'll be moments of your lessons that you just hate. There'll be some that you enjoy. He said, just try to stick with it. So, you know. Then he's like, all right, you're going to drive home. And I don't know how many miles out I am from my home. A decent chunk. So I'm just like, mate, I can't even fucking start the car, let alone even consider driving on a road. So this is what we did. We drove on a road. We pulled off. He drove me to a big long straight. And he tells me, all right, this is how you change gear. You go in clutch down, ease off the gas. I was using like a palming technique because it was spring-loaded gearing. That's what I was doing. And he showed me how to do it, and then, yeah, he was like, all right, it's your turn now, mate. Now, bearing in mind, again, he was obviously doing all the mirror checks. He's taken control of everything. Like he said, he's like, I don't want to be rude. He's like, this is just how lessons are. He's like, I control 99% of the car, pretty much. You're just, sorry, 95% of the car. You know, just so I don't do anybody any harm, which makes sense, right? So he's doing my mirrors, he's doing my checks. I'm trying to look myself, but it's, you know, first lesson, trying to do mirrors and all that. It's impossible. So he set off down the road, and off I go. First gear change, just fucked it up. I didn't stall, but I just fucked it up. Now, he didn't tell me if I stalled. I don't think I stalled. It's some drivers I've watched on lessons, they just, because they've got their own pedals, they just instantly sort the stall. I don't believe I stalled, but it wouldn't surprise me if I did. So we're driving along the road and he's like, okay, first into second. So I'm going clutch down off the gas second, and that's okay, right? If I was just on a straight road with nothing and I was going up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4 to second or whatever, I'd be okay. But I was on a main road. I was on a main road. You know, I was a bit worried. We had corners and we set off. And I'm in my local area, so I sort of know it, but I'm not really great. You sort of, I don't know if you know this, like, you think you know your area because you've been in a car or you've been on public transport, but you're not really paying attention at the time. So you're like, wait, which lane am I going in? And anyway, I know it's kind of getting waffly. I'm talking myself through it. It's a process. We're going along this road. Set of traffic light comes on. There's a car behind me. There's a car in front of me. Now, bear in mind, I don't even know how to change gear. I've been in a car an hour. And he's like, yep, just ease off. Cover your brake. Bring it to a nice standstill. And then we're at the traffic light. Then he's like, okay, what we practiced before, bring that biting point up. Bring that biting point up. And I'm just like, fucking hell, mate. I'm just like shitting it. I'm just shitting it. And that's what we're doing. We're driving along. And then I drove like, for me, a fucking long way. I drove, well, I can't tell you where we were, but drove all the way down a big long road, loads of curves, past a bank, through a bit of traffic, through some parked cars, because in England parked cars are on every side of the road. Then I'm going up to like a 30-mile-an-hour zone, right? And I've always thought this, right? Like, if you've ever been in a car and someone's driving like 30, you're just like, come on. I was like 26, right? And he's like, that's okay. Like 26. So I was going about 26. And the whole time I'm driving, I'm trying to look at the speed thing. I'm trying to look at where I'm going. He was like, don't look at the curb or you'll drive into the curb. Look at where you want to go. So that's what I was doing. So we're driving along. It's going okay. I'd say it's a 1 out of 10 for me personally. I haven't killed anybody, but I feel like it's a 1 out of 10. I'm driving along, and that's going on. So he's talking to me, we're changing gears, and then we're coming up to like, we were probably going, we had like a section which I enjoyed a bit more, where I was just on a sort of empty road, and he was like, okay, now ease off the accelerator, clutch down into second. Okay, now we'll go back up to 30, let's go up to third, fourth, and back down to second. And into, you know, we were doing that for like probably only 10 minutes or something, but I didn't mind that. That was a little bit better, because I didn't feel quite as panicked as been on the main road. What map are we doing? Cursed Crypt. Yeah, so that's what we were doing. I was going around, and then we came up to a roundabout. Well, we had a mini roundabout. A mini roundabout in the sense that there's no markings or anything. You know, those roundabouts you can drive over. Well, I mean, I went round it, but my steering was horrendous. Like, he was constantly touching the wheel. Like, I don't think... I mean, I know I wouldn't, right? I know I wouldn't have done. If he hadn't touched the wheel, I wouldn't have hit anything, because you sort of know how to steer. But I think he was just overly cautious and kept touching the wheel. But I kind of appreciated it, because it just kept me on this. It let me focus on the gears and that. So we're driving along. We do a mini roundabout, which I go round. No one was there, luckily. We then come to a sort of, I'd say, a medium-sized roundabout, just a 2-laner. And again, this is like, I've been in the car like an hour. I stop. I'm sort of slowing down. He's like, cover brake. There's nobody coming, is there? Go. Well, I don't fucking know if there's nobody coming, mate. Like, I've been in roundabouts before, obviously, but when you're actually driving the car and somebody's like, is somebody coming? I'm like trying to look. I'm thinking, which road even leads into the roundabout? Like, where would the cars come from? And then he's like, it's a good job there was nobody coming there, because you just went. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking, he's not going to let me go if there isn't somebody there, you know? If that makes sense. I still tried to have a look, and it did look pretty empty. But he's going to slam on the brakes, right, if something's coming, I hope. So that, we went round roundabout 1 out of 10 experience. Then we went round roundabout 2, which, what I was doing was, when I was putting the clutch down and swapping, I was lifting up too early and putting on the gas too early. So there was that. Another major issue I was having, I couldn't just remember what gear I was in, because felt like I was trying to concentrate on so much stuff that I kept saying to him, listen, just you keep reminding me what gear I'm in, and then say, you know, change to whatever, because at the moment my brain's overloaded and I can't think. So I kept saying to myself out loud, I'm in third, and he'd go, all right, go to second. So then I'd be like, right, third's at the top, I'm going palm down, left down, you know, or whatever. Sometimes he'd say I was in first. No, sorry. Yeah, I was in second, and he'd say go fourth. No, he'd say second to third. Sometimes I go fifth, but that's because I was really pushing it across. When in that car, you just need to palm it, and it goes to neutral, and then I can move it. So we go past that roundabout. At this point, he's talking to me about his computer. I think he's trying to change the subject and calm me down. He called me an internal panicker, which sums me up well. I don't panic on the outside. So I'm still driving. I'm still like straight face thinking, but on the inside, I'm exploding. I'm fucking panicking out my head. And then we go to, well, I mean, I guess you'd call it a dual carriageway, and I'm up to 40, and I'm in fourth, and I'm just keeping a steady pace at that. And they're basically my main issues so far have been just actually everything. Just everything. But mainly holding your foot still and keeping your foot on the floor, which I just really struggled with. I think I just need to pull the car nearer. Pull the seat nearer. So yeah, there was that. And then we sort of went 40 for like the road length. Slowed it down. Indicated left because that's where I was turning in. And then that's it. I sort of just pulled up sort of away from my house. And then that was the lesson over. And he gave me some sheets. But honestly, I felt knackered. That might sound really weird. But do you know when you're trying to learn something new? You're trying to learn something new and you just feel over like... yeah, you just feel like you're trying to take in so much information. And I just felt knackered. I literally just came in and watched a TV show. And that was that. And it just felt like, God, is that, like, it just felt like when we pulled up and we discussed, like, do I want to book more? I booked like 8 more in advance. And I just felt like terror, mate. I just felt like, oh no, like I've committed to it. And like already my next lesson is next Tuesday, so in a week. And I just feel like sheer terror at the thought of getting back in the car. I'm just like, no, like I'm going to be awful. I'm going to do all the gears fucking wrong. He's going to get mad as fuck that I'm fucking slamming his car around, you know. And that's how it went. I mean, yeah, it was okay. I think I was pleasantly surprised, if I'm looking back, that I did what I did. Like, obviously, because I've never been in a car. But I was, like, really nervous, which doesn't help. And also, I don't learn in anyone else's car. Which means I'm probably not going to have any car practice until next week. So I might ask my parents to be insured on their car. They don't know I'm learning yet. So I might ask to be insured on their car, and then I think my dad could help me out and just get me a few more hours in the car, just practicing clutch and actual braking. Because just getting that biting point, it was like, this is what was happening. It was like, okay, clutch down, and then clutch up. And then he'd be like, that's the biting point there. And then in my head, I didn't mean to. In my head, I was about fucking slam on that accelerator. I'm exaggerating a bit, but yeah, that's what it was like. And then all hell would break loose. And yeah. that's what it was like. So that was my first driving experience. I'm honestly really not looking forward to lesson number 2. Hopefully it just gets easier from here. So I'm pretty tempted to just tell my parents I'm learning to drive. The idea was to just surprise them. But I feel like it's going to be, after doing that today, I feel like it's going to be really beneficial just to have even like half an hour, even if it's whatever it is, driving around a tiny, quiet road, or driving, I don't know, hell, even in a frigging car park. Just getting used to the clutch on and off, because, I mean, I'm rambling here, I'm going to end the video, but I just felt like, I didn't really know, like, you still have to find the biting point when you're changing gear, which, like, slightly confused me, because I thought, like, once you roll in, you just clutch down, that allows you to change gear, you gear change, and then you come up. So, as I was hearing, like, basically what I was doing was, I wasn't even feeling the car do the bite point, I was just listening. That's all I did. I don't know if that's right or wrong. As I brought the clutch up when I was controlling gear, there was like this whiz. It would go like zzz, and then I knew, like, okay, slight pressure on the accelerator, and then I can fully come off the clutch. That's what I was doing. But it just, yeah, it has put me off lesson 2, but I will try to not be put off. And do my lesson 2. I have given the bloke the money, you know. I may as well get me money's worth. So that's how it went. I'm going to rate my experience of lesson 1 out of lesson 1. I'll be fair to myself. I'll say it was a 3. Right? A 3 because I actually drove home. So if my life fucking depended on it, right? And I needed to get in somebody's car and drive home, off 2 lessons, I could probably absolutely butcher it and get home. And hopefully I improve from there. So that was my lesson 1. For those that don't know, and for those that want to support me, as explained, I've already booked my lessons, but any subscriptions or any donations will be going towards helping me learn. I've often just, everything I've got from YouTube has always gone back into YouTube. Microphones, green screens, you know, 2 monitors so I can read Twitch chat, a better computer so I can stream without lag, better internet. But if I get any future donations, if anyone's there to support me, and is enjoying my content, that's where it will be going to. I'm not asking you to donate. It'd be obviously lovely if people did support me, but that's what I'm saying, that's where it's going to. So I'm just letting you know, if you are thinking, oh, this guy needs to get better software or something, the donation won't be going towards that for now. It'll be going towards helping me learn to drive. So that's what we're doing at the moment. Cheers for tuning in to this long episode. I know it's been long, but that's what we've been doing. I really feel tired now. It feels pathetic, but yeah, hopefully I'll calm down and give me a few days. All right, take it easy, folks.